See, whenever you think of leadership, there are certain things that you need to keep in your mind. It's a very fundamental about leadership. That there are different models of leadership. You have autocratic style of leadership on the one hand, and democratic participative style of leadership on the other hand, and there are other models as well in between on graduated scale, depending on the equation of authority which is exercised by the leader and the freedom and liberty or space which is given to the followers. So on the one hand, you have autocratic style of leadership. On the other hand, you have democratic style of leadership. But whatever be the model of leadership, there are certain things which are common, without which no leadership will ever come into existence. First of all, you need to understand that leadership invariably involves unequal distribution of power and influence between leaders on the one hand and followers on the other. Unequal distribution of power and influence. If all of us enjoy the same amount of power and influence, so no leadership will ever come into existence. There has to be some kind of vertical structure. It may not be so much long, or maybe too long, so that is a different thing. But there has to be some kind of vertical structure in terms of power and influence. Second thing, that the leadership, whatever be the nature of leadership invariably involves some kind of psychological or economic exchange. Either the followers are so much motivated by the charm and charisma of the leader, there is some kind of emotional bond, some kind of organic connectedness because of one of the reason, or there can be some kind of economic exchange. It means the followers are getting benefited because of their proximity to the leader, and leader is also getting benefited by the followers because of the presence of followers. So leadership invariably involves some kind of psychological or economic exchange. Leader is a leader because he does possess power, different types of power. He may have reward power or coercive power, so he can give reward to his followers. That's why he's a leader. And then he is also capable of punishing his followers. So there is a deterrence. So that is also one of the constituent parts of the leadership. And then the leader may have legitimate power. So legitimate part, his position has been legitimized. And then he have expert power or referent power. He enjoys expertise over certain subject matter, or he has a huge referent power. Referent power, very frequently cases are referred to him. So for some kind of intervention, some kind of support. So leader is a leader because of unequal distribution of power and influence, because of some kind of psychological or economic exchange between the leaders and followers. Leaders are leaders because they possess one or other kind of power, like reward power or punitive power, coercive power, or legitimate power, expert power, referent power, different types of power. It is not necessary that every leader must possess all types of powers. It means the comparative significance may differ from leader to leader. It means a leader may be leader more because of reward power, or leader may be a leader more because of expert power than anything else. This is the point. Leadership. So leadership involves some kind of psychological or economic exchange. Then leadership involves unequal distribution of power and influence. Point clear? And there are different ways to look at the leadership on the basis of the equation of relationship between leader and followers in terms of authority, in terms of the freedom or the liberty which is given to the followers. There can be democratic style of leadership, there can be benevolent democratic style of leadership, participative style of leadership, and democratic style of leadership. But there is another way to look at the leadership on the basis of the quality of leadership, impact quotient. So whether it has a short-term impact or long-term impact, or it is something which can be sustained or cannot be sustained. So depending on the quality of leadership, based on the ability of the leader to bring desirable changes in the society, to what extent leaders succeed in bringing changes in the society, leadership can be categorized into two. You have transactional leadership and you have transformational leadership. Transactional leadership, very simple. Transactional leadership, as the term itself expresses, transactional leadership involves some kind of transaction between leaders on the one hand and followers on the other. It means exchange, give and take kind of arrangement. So it is characterized by the quid pro quo, kind of give and take kind of arrangement, like I will give you this benefit and you give me vote. So you can see this kind of leadership in country. Different political parties, most of them have transactional kind of leadership. Why? Because they promise that they will give this kind of benefit, to the followers, 1,000 per month or 1,500 per month or 1 lakh, the annum will be given to the people, those who are poor, those who belong to this category or that category, free water, free electricity, number of other benefits, the bounties they throw. So there is a kind of transactional arrangement. A transactional leadership, you can say, that you give and then you expect that you are going to get something. Transactional leadership is very much mechanical and very ordinary leadership, very ordinary kind of leadership, that any Tom, Dick and Harry can come and can throw bounties on the people from the public exchequer, and he can get support, and then he will say that he is a good leader. So that is the kind of ordinary leadership, transactional leadership. On the other hand, you have transformational leadership. Transformational leadership is significantly different from transactional leadership. It may involve some attributes of transactional leadership, some kind of give and take arrangement to sustain itself, but in the long term, for the long-term sustainability, it involves some kind of substance. It is not only about give and take. It is about motivating people. It is about energizing people. It is about eliciting best of the contributions from society, to create a self-sustaining process of growth and development. It means transformational leadership is the one when the leaders, they influence the mind of followers beyond this give and take arrangement. They influence the mind of followers. It means they come up with some kind of vision. They have a mission-driven approach. They come up with some kind of integrative value system. So they are capable of inspiring their followers. They are capable of giving stimulation to intellectual spontaneity. They are capable of setting good examples by their own action to influence the action of their followers in long term. And then there is a kind of individualized consideration. When they interact or when they respond to the masses, they respond to their followers, then every single person, or most of the persons in individual capacity, would feel that the leader has something specifically for him. So leader encourages individuals to come out with their distinct the contribution, and also takes into consideration how to reward every individual, group and community for their contribution. So capable of understanding the problems of every individual, group and community, and then capable of rewarding them for their innovation, for their concerted effort towards the accomplishment of goals, purpose and objective, to improve their quality of life and to contribute to the improvement of quality of life of people in the entire country. So you have transactional leadership. It is soulless leadership. There is not so much of soul, just give and take arrangement. And transformational leadership, you have soul. So leadership is concerned not only with your vote, and is not only concerned with what kind of benefit and bounties can be thrown on you. This may be the part of the leadership to some extent, but leadership has a kind of vision. So it consists of intellectual stimulation. It consists of inspirational motivation, then idealized influence, and then individualized consideration. These are the 4 important attributes and constituents of transformational leadership. This leadership is there with a vision for the progressive transformation of society. This is not just a kind of give and take kind of arrangement. You give me some kind of benefit and I will give you a benefit, and mutually beneficial arrangement, and we'll move ahead. And what about nation? And what about the larger interest of society? What about the development in the larger context, socio-economic and cultural development? And what about your domestic problems? How you are going to address your domestic problems? Then how to avail of the opportunity? Then how will you negotiate with the global realities so as to develop a favorable equation of relationship with the world, something favorable to your country or society? Are you confined only to the contemporary problems, or you are capable of anticipating problems in future and to prepare for the same? So transformational leadership involves a lot of substance. You are not only concerned with the present, you are also concerned with the future. On the basis of the understanding of the past, you observe, you analyze the present conditions, you keep making effort for the improvement, and then you have a long-term vision. You know what will happen to your country, and I mean to say you are very clear regarding what kind of country you want to see 10 years, 20 years down the line. Where do you want your country to be seen at? This is the vision. So visionary flair and mission-driven approach. Organized, concerted effort, constantly making effort for betterment, for improvement in the existing state of affairs. Not not becoming the victim of complacency. This is a transformational leadership. One by one, if you take it simple, intellectual stimulation. It means a leader stimulates intellectual spontaneity, creativity among his followers. So leader himself is very much change oriented, very dynamic, and then it encourages or it stimulates intellectual contribution. The changes in the tools, techniques, method, technology, innovation. These are the things which are encouraged among the followers. So this is kind of intellectual stimulation. So transformational leadership is characterized by intellectual stimulation. It is not just about issuance of order and command and getting things done and talking tall about one or other, the things, or just preaching about your or talking about your vision or mission. Actually, it is brought into execution. In reality, it is brought into execution. You come up with the new ideas and you encourage new ideas, innovative spirit among your followers. You encourage them. You provide incentives for innovation, for invention, for discoveries, something like this. Intellectual stimulation. So constantly, a lot of, environment is very much charged up. People know that if they come up with something new, it will be encouraged by the government and reward will be given. Then you have India, second is inspirational motivation. So intellectual stimulation and then inspirational motivation. A leadership which inspires. Leadership inspires. How? Why? Because it has a clear-cut vision. Constantly, you take your people, your followers, your people along, that what we have achieved is not enough. We have to cover a long distance and there is the destination. So constantly you keep motivating the people. You have a clear-cut vision for the future. That vision gives you that power, that energy to move ahead. You know that is the destination. So you have visionary flair and then you have a mission-driven approach. It means whatever thing that you are going to do, your activities are well programmed, well organized within some kind of time-bound arrangement with a clarity in terms of what, how and why. So that visionary flair and then that mission-driven approach, full of energy, full of the unflinching commitment to accomplish such things. All the things motivates people. So there is an inspirational motivation. You inspire and you motivate. Leadership knows that growth and development is the multi-star movie. Growth and development is not possible by individualized effort of few leaders sitting at the top. For the good leader is the one who is capable of, apart from taking whatever action is necessary on his side, he is capable of encouraging and motivating people and eliciting energy from them. And then this collective force leads to desirable changes in one or other dimensions of life. So it is not only about doing great things, it is about encouraging people, motivating people and eliciting from them. उनसे ही वो action आप निकलवा लेते हो, उनको encourage करते हो, motivate करते हो. If every individual is committed to his work and task, responsibility, you just take care of minutes, hours will take care of themselves, age-old saying. So every individual makes fullest contribution or best possible contribution, then rest of the things will fall in place. You have to work for building up of capacity and then creating opportunity. These two things are extremely essential, and this way you inspire people, you motivate people. Inspirational motivation, the second thing. And the third one, idealized influence. It is not enough to influence the mind of followers by talking about great things, that you should get up early in the morning, you should work for 15 hours and 16 hours, remain committed, to your goals. That determination, perseverance, ability to steer through the crisis, dealing with adversities and challenges, you keep talking about all such things will not have much of influence. You are required to set an example. So transformational leadership involves this kind of idealized influence, that you influence the mind and action of your followers by setting example by your own action, that you are doing all such things which you are expecting from others. Modi's leadership. Modi ji अगर लोगों से कहते हैं कि आप भी काफ़ी मेहनत कीजिए और अपना काम ईमानदारी से कीजिए और अपने जीवन को बेहतर बनाइए और साथ में देश को भी आगे बढ़ाइए, अगर ये बातें मोदी जी करते हैं तो ये बातें बहुत ही कन्विंसिंग इसलिए लगती है कि आप मोदी जी का विरोध करें या उनको सपोर्ट करें, इस बात से कोई इनकार नहीं कर सकता है कि इज़ अ वेरी हार्ड वर्किंग पर्सन। ठीक है, तो उन्होंने उनका जो इन्फ्लुएंस है वो किसी दूसरे लीडर्स की तुलना में कहीं ज़्यादा है, क्योंकि उन्होंने खुद एग्जाम्पल सेट किया है। आज यूनियन गवर्नमेंट जो है, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, वो पूरी ब्यूरोक्रेसी जो है स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स में जहाँ जहाँ बीजेपी की सरकार है या वो मोदी की लीडरशिप से इंस्पायर्ड है, तो वहाँ पर चीज़ें धीरे धीरे बदल रही है। लेकिन इसमें कोई डाउट नहीं है कि अब जो सेंट्रल ब्यूरोक्रेसी आपकी जो है, यूनियन गवर्नमेंट, उनकी जो ब्यूरोक्रेसी, उसके अंदर काम करने का तौर तरीका काफ़ी कुछ बदल गया है, क्योंकि मोदी जी खुद मतलब उन्होंने एक एग्जाम्पल सेट किया अपने एक्शन से। तो कोई भी मिनिस्टर जो है अब वो पहले की तरह बिहेव उनकी सरकार में नहीं कर सकते हैं। और जब मिनिस्टर्स बहुत ही डिसिप्लिन हैं और बहुत रिस्पॉन्सिबल और कमिटेड हैं, तो ब्यूरोक्रेसी हैज़ टू फॉलो इन लाइन विद दैट। सो दिस इज द काइंड ऑफ आइडियलाइज्ड इन्फ्लुएंस। आप वो सब चीज़ें करते हैं जो दूसरों से आप एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं। And the last, individual consideration. A good leader is the one who is capable of differentiating things, different groups, different communities, different state of affairs, different conditions, and that's why different or multi-pronged action is required. What you do for one, you can decide not to do the same for others, because different groups, different individuals may have different requirements. Individual consideration, that you are dealing with your followers and masses, but you are aware of the problems of children, you are aware of the specific problems of women, you are aware of the problems of the middle class or the lower middle class or weaker underprivileged sections of society, and accordingly you come up with various programs, projects, decisions, or your actions, so that more or less, different individuals, groups, communities, they feel that there is some kind of organic connectedness with the government. They consider the government of their own. This is known as transformational leadership. Because you may agree or you may not agree with Modi's leadership, but as far as my limited understanding is concerned, I can see this is the basic difference in the leadership of Mr. Modi and the leadership of the parties on the opposition side. This is the basic difference. So quid pro quo, give and take will be there in Modi's leadership as well, because he has to win election, and then only he can get the required disposition wherefrom he can orchestrate change and development in the society. But you need political power to convert your vision into reality. To that extent, some kind of give and take element will also be there. In the Modi's leadership will be there, transactional leadership, some attributes will be there. But in Modi's leadership, you don't have only attributes of only transactional leadership. There is an element, or very you can say there are many attributes of transformational leadership as well. You can compare. You talk about intellectual stimulation or inspirational motivation, idealized influence or individualized consideration. I have discussed all these 4 points and goes well with that leadership. So this is the difference, and this leadership, transformational leadership, comes up with a vision for the progressive transformation of society. So it may involve some attributes of transactional leadership so as to win elections. It is just not enough to do good things and to visualize things in the future, come up with a long-term vision. But in the short term, you are required to create some kind of feel-good factor among the people so as to win elections. But winning election is not the ultimate objective. This is just means towards an end. And if you win this election, you have that mandate, then you get an opportunity, you get that required disposition to work for conversion of your vision into reality. And the process goes on and on. Gradually, when your people come to know that your leadership is not only about give and take kind of arrangement, there is something else, something far more substantial in nature. Then this leadership ends up developing a self-sustaining cyclical or reciprocal process, between the leadership on the one hand, society on the other, and in between number of opposition parties, civil society, media. Some of them may be hostile, some of them may be favorable. They keep looking for the space between the two. This is exactly what has happened. So first election, then second election, Mr. Modi has won, and this is the third election is likely to win. But whatever happens, we don't know what will the consequence of this election 2024. But up to this point, you can say that if Modi's leadership differs from others, it is on this count. It's a kind of transformational leadership. I hope the point is clear. So you have brought in two kinds of leadership here, transactional leadership and transformational leadership. This is something, it's a very long-term in approach, and it is sustainable, and it is not so much sustainable. It's transactional leadership, yes, it depends on the nature of your electorate. If people are also People are of the kind that they are satisfied with give and take arrangement. We are getting some benefit from the government, and whatever happens to the country and society, nation, is not so much a matter of concern. So always we say that in democracy, it is said that people always get the kind of government which they deserve. So if your society, if your electorate, if they are not so much mature, they have not evolved, so in that kind of society, transactional leadership may be successful. But if society gets educated, society is educated, people are very much mature, they are aware of, they can distinguish between short-term and long-term ends, short-term and long-term events. They can see the difference between what is pleasant and what is good. So in that kind of society, transformational leadership will work, not transactional leadership. One is clear. So this is the difference. So you can apply it to the contemporary situation in our country, and you can see the difference in the nature of leadership. I hope this point is clear. Thank you.